Hello, welcome back. Welcome to my kitchen. Come in, sit down, and let me cook for you. I'm Tom, the Sunday Dinner Chef. Let's get started. Well, folks, today I thought we'd go on a little bit of a journey back to New Jersey, and a place called the Jersey Sub Shop. And you would go in this place and get a submarine sandwich. There's no different names, but we call it a submarine sandwich. And everything was cut fresh. All the cold cuts were cut fresh. They would actually chop all the vegetables up in front of you and make this delicious submarine sandwich, and I'm going to replicate that today. Let's get started. All right, I'm going to start out by making my own roll, my own bread for this submarine sandwich. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an Italian baguette, actually, but I'm going to do it in a different way. I'm going to cut back on the recipe. I want the outside to be a little bit more crispier, the inside nice, the bread nice, airy, tender, to hold up to this kind of sandwich. So what I did was I have a cup of warm water between 90 and 105 degrees. Also, I put in a tablespoon, 1 full tablespoon of yeast, and and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Let that mix up, and as you can see right here, it's starting to foam. It's starting to look like a head of beer. That's what I want. Now, into my food processor, I'm going to be putting in 2 cups of flour, half a teaspoon of salt. Put it together, blend it together, and I want this dough a little on the sticky side. That's where you get the nice crunch on the bread. Now, once I put the flour into the food processor, I spin it around a little bit, make sure it breaks down any kind of lumps or whatever. And then I add in the salt. And then I'll blend it again with the salt. Salt has a tendency to slow down yeast. It'll actually slow down fermentation. So I like to put that in dry with the flour. Okay, add in the wet ingredients, the yeast and stuff like that with the sugar in it. It's going to boil up. I want it kind of sticky because that's when you build a nice crust with it. And this is going to be 1 rise. So what I'm going to do is take it out of the food processor. Sprinkle some dust of flour on the board. I'm going to knead it real quick. Shape it, and then it's going to sit and it is going to rise. So I'm only going to make 1 rise out of this because of it's not that humid inside my kitchen. So rather than going through, jumping through hoops, putting water on the stove, trying to make it a little bit more humid, I'm going to just let it rise 1 time. I'm going to form it as soon as I get done kneading it, all right? And let that rise. Once it gets to a certain size, in the oven it's going to go. Now, this is going to get egg washed, and also I'm going to be using some sesame seeds on these baguettes. Okay, it's coming into shape and it feels real smooth, feels nice and light. Now, I'm going to take this and cut it in half. And then what I'll do is I'll roll it out into baguette shape. But first what I want to do is in the pan, I'm going to use some parchment paper. I'm going to put that wooden dowel in there, all right? And then I'm going to try to shape the paper so that it doesn't spread out any further than what I want it, all right? I want it to go up, not out. If I don't do that, I'll wind up with 2 pieces of flatbread. We don't want that. Okay, cutting these in hopefully pretty pretty even cuts. The length one, I'm going to make one a little bit longer than the other one. And what's going to happen is these are going to get egg washed. I'm going to slit them, egg wash them, and I'm going to put a little sesame seed on top. That's the bread I like. All right. So reason for going way back now, going back to putting the yeast in, I want this to be a little bit more airy, made a little more sticky. All right, so the dough is a little more stickier, so that the crust gets a nice crust to it. The worst thing in the world is making a sandwich nowadays. Everything's in the supermarket. It's in a plastic bag, and it's just horrible. So that's why I like to make my own. There are a few bakeries out here, but by the time I drive traffic and everything like that, I just might as well make it myself, and it really comes out good. So these are going to get rolled out, put into the pan, slit, egg washed, and also sesame seed. Okay, now the dough is in the pan. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to split them with a little paring knife, just to open it up a little bit more. If there's any kind of air pockets in there, it won't crack the bread, whatever. And then what I'll do is I will egg wash it, and I'll add in some sesame seed. Now you can add anything you want to the top of it. You can leave it plain. I like to put the egg wash on it because it helps with that little bit more crunch to it, plus a nice deeper color. So I'll whisk up this one egg, and I'll brush it on pretty evenly, and then I will be putting on the sesame seed. So I'm going to fold the parchment paper up into a crease like that, just so the bread doesn't spread out any more than what I want it to. This works out really well. And also, I'm going to put a towel over the top of it, just to keep a little bit of heat in there and help it rise a little bit faster. Well, now starts the fun part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my mandolin. I'm going to put it on the first setting, and I'm going to slice up the onion. Now I'm going to slice a little bit more than what I need because I have another cook that I'm doing. Then I'm going to need some sauteed onions, so I'm going to use them nice and thin. Also, I have my cut glove on because you know what? This mandolin can bite you. Be very careful if you do have one. These are fantastic. And there they are. That's just about what I want. About the size I want to cut. So I'm going to cut this up. Also, you see there I have some romaine lettuce, and also I'm using plum tomatoes. I like plum tomatoes better. Now, normally you would get it with iceberg lettuce. I don't care for iceberg lettuce, so I'm using the romaine, and I'm going to be cutting it up real small, and also the tomato is going to be sliced very thin also. So we're going to start putting this thing together. As I'm cutting this right here, the bread is in its stage, just rising. I have the oven turned up, getting that preheated. I'm going to cook it at 400 degrees. And today's sub is going to be salami, ham, pepperoni, and provolone cheese, onion, lettuce, and tomato, with also oil and vinegar. And I'm using red wine vinegar. So All right, so right there, you can't use lettuce on that little mandolin, but if you slice it nice and thin with your knife, it'll work just as fine. Now you can leave the lettuce leaves whole. I like them sliced up like this. So this is bringing me back many years to this one particular place we used to go to all the time. Great sandwich, and it was, tell you what, if it was priced right, I don't know what they would charge today. I understand, very expensive. All right, after each preparation that I'm doing between from the lettuce, the onions, and now to the tomato, got to wipe that board down. Got to keep everything nice and sanitary. It means you don't want nobody getting sick, even if it's just the two of us. You got to be real careful. If you notice, there's an awful lot of recalls on tainted foods that are out there right now. It's very scary, it really is. I'm going to slice these as thin as possible. Reason why is you spread them out a little bit more onto your sandwich. And it doesn't have that, like when you bite into it, you get a thick tomato taste. Try to keep everything nice and even with it. Makes for a better sandwich. Vegetables are cut, they'll get covered and put back into the refrigerator, and we're getting ready to, I think the bread might be ready to go into the oven. Oh yeah, they're ready to go. Okay, nice split on it, nice egg wash on there. These are going to go in 400 degrees, probably for 40-45 minutes, a little longer, maybe a little less. But 400 degrees, it's going to go in, and I'll just constantly check on it to see how it goes. I want a nice crunch on this. I want the bread to come out nice, and there we go. Second half of this video is brought to you by Tommy Spice. Salt, pepper, garlic, and onion, all granulated, all equal parts. Make your food nice with some Tommy Spice. Done. Came out perfect. Nice crisp on the bottom. They're hotter than hell. As you can see there, I split open the paper and took that wooden dowel out once they set. I didn't need them to be there in there anymore. So now we're gonna put this together right here in front of you. So it's going to be a provolone, also some ham, pepperoni, and some Genoa salami with oil and vinegar. That would be known as a #1 at the Jersey Sub Shop. Bread came out perfect. Wow, really looks nice. All right, let's put this together. Okay, we're going to start off first with some olive oil. Here's olive. Now, I like a little bit more vinegar on it than with the oil. So you can just about do anything you want with it here. You can use mayo if you don't like this, or nothing. So what I did was I took the red wine vinegar and I put it in a squeeze bottle, make it a little bit easier to spread on. Sometimes you don't want to get a little heavy-handed. And then you would just start building it. All right, the whole anticipation. Once you went into this one particular sub shop, matter of fact, I became really good friends with the owner, who actually started out in his early 20s and built his business up to unbelievable. It was what he sold it for was a staggering price, and just for making it this way, just for making all fresh. He baked his own breads. Did everything from scratch. Cut everything to order. There was no meat sitting like I have it right there all cut up. Everything was sliced. Took a little bit longer to get it, but he took his time, and it was fantastic. Now, another real big place started out in New Jersey called Jersey Mike's. Now, Jersey Mike, I have no affiliation with him, but when I was older and I was actually chef at another restaurant in Seagirt, New Jersey. They started out in Point Pleasant, New Jersey, and it spread out from there. Matter of fact, they just opened a few out here in Las Vegas. From what I understand, the original owner doesn't own it anymore. But there's another place. But I got to tell you something. Very expensive. Very, very expensive. So every once in a while, do it yourself. Start making your own bread. Make your own sandwiches that way. So as you see, I put the ham on, pepperoni, and then the salami. Now I'm going to put the lettuce on. Okay. And then I am going to be putting the tomatoes on top of the lettuce. Now, there was a method to this guy's madness because he said everything would hold together if you did it his particular way. So I'm trying to reenact it now. It's been many, many years ago. But the cheese went on, and then the onions went on last. I don't know why he did it that way, but it seemed to work. And I got to tell you what, this was fantastic. Brought back a lot of memories. And, there again, this is something you can do at your house by yourself, your family, whatever. Make a couple of these. There was a bar that I used to go to, and they actually had a 6-foot sub behind the bar, okay? And they would sell it by the inch. Think about that. 6 foot and sell it by the inch. They made a ton of money off this one sub, and I tell you what, it was pretty good. It was really, really good. But it was 6 foot long, all one piece, and they would slice it. They actually had it on a board where it looked like a tape measure that was next to it. So many different things you can do with it, but make your own bread. Give it a nice crunch to it. Brought back a lot of memories. Today's bread, I don't know. It's too in plastic bags, and I don't particularly care for it. Okay, well, you know what? We're going to cut this in half. I got somebody waiting in the wings for their Jersey Sub Shop #1. And in particular, this gentleman that owned this place, he only had 5 different types of subs. Nothing crazy. He had 5 cutters behind me. That's what he called them, cutters, who made the subs to order. Some people didn't want onions or whatever. But he had 5 people behind the counter, and that's all he did. 5 different types of sandwiches, and went to work with it. This came out really good. Brought back a lot of memories. And with that said, I want to thank everybody. This is going into my 2nd year now. November 28th was my first, my birthday, you could say. And I'm really enjoying this, and thank you so much for all the subscribers. Now, just hold on a minute. I got to take a bite here. Hold on. This is it. There it is, right there. Listen, thank you so much. I appreciate everybody. I am Tom, the Sunday Dinner Chef. And stop back next week. We might have some other surprises going on. Thank you, everybody. Hit that like, subscribe button. See you next Sunday.